Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're watching OBN Horn of Africa. This is Future Africa Show. I am your host and producer, Addis Asafa. Today we're going to discuss about Ethiopian political dynamics. Obviously, the West propaganda and the reality in Ethiopia is the tale of two cities. And I joined by Dr. Jemal Hassen from US via Zoom. He's online now, and we're going to discuss about current Ethiopian politics and the Western intervention and the TPLF's atrocity. Dr. Jemal, a very warm welcome to you.
Mr. Addis Asafa, thank you so much, and OBN English program, and our technical supporters, and everyone. Thank you so much. I am so glad that I am on this spotlight today.
How do you analyze Ethiopian current political dynamics?
Thank you so much. The current Ethiopian politics, seriously, let me say something about, before I really deeply go into this current Ethiopian politics, something that I would like everybody to know. There is no nation get to from point A to point B without conflicts. So Ethiopia is going through that conflict especially within the last 10 months right now. But now, beautifully, Ethiopia is succeeding in its mission of developing Ethiopia for all Ethiopians. So what I'm saying is, especially the last 3 years since Dr. Abiy Ahmed came to power, the terrorist organization TPLF has been doing almost everything that they can to destroy Ethiopia and to remove Dr. Abiy Ahmed, to come back to power, which they would actually do more disaster than last 27 years if they ever come back to power in Ethiopia. Thankfully, thank you to the Ethiopians who have been working hard in eradicating this terrorist organization TPLF. So as of right now, Ethiopia is not where it was 3 years ago. Ethiopia is not where it was about 10 months ago when TPLF starts killing Ethiopian national defense while they were sleeping. The national defense that protects all Ethiopians and the people of Ethiopia, all Ethiopian borders.
Since Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed came into power, so many achievements had been gained, and again, the reform is challenged by so many bottlenecks. Can you explicitly tell us those major achievements, milestone achievements, and the bottlenecks that challenged the reform?
Once again, ever since that Ethiopia, literally, for the last 150 years, if we look back where Ethiopia was 150 years ago, even 27 years ago, even 3 years ago today, Ethiopia has been united more than ever. All people of Ethiopia came from south, east, northern, central parts, all ethnic groups of Ethiopia, regardless of their ethnic differences, religious differences, geographical differences, Ethiopian men and women came together to support this administration because Ethiopian citizens know what is better for them, who is better for them, and who is going to develop Ethiopia, who is going to make Ethiopia great. So I have been watching Ethiopian politics closely, especially for the last 20 years, since I was in primary school. What I am going to tell the world and the Ethiopian citizens, Ethiopia has never been stronger as today. Dr. Abiy Ahmed, he is the man of hope. He is the man of the truth. He has been fighting on behalf of every single Ethiopians, regardless of their religious differences, geographical differences, socio-economical differences. Unlike from what we have seen the last 27 years, when TPLF gang members were in possession, what they had done in 27 years, they were creating conflicts between two different groups, between Amharas and Oromos, between Christians and Muslims, between Somalis and Oromos, only to sustain in power. That is what they had done, inciting wars and inciting ethnic wars, religious wars, and tribal wars for the last 27 years that they were in power. Now, after they left power too, they said, we are not going to let Dr. Abiy Ahmed's administration succeed. So if you remember what they had done about a year and a half ago, even prior to this conflict, they went from the east to the west, and they're creating, one time they create this conflict to when Oromo students were in Amara regional universities. They literally spent millions of dollars that they stole from Ethiopia, creating that almost civil war. So Oromos and Amaras could fight each other. While Oromos and Amaras could fight each other, they can come to the power easily. They couldn't succeed at that. Then they went after the Ethiopian National Army to create fires through Ethiopia so they come back to the power easily. They couldn't succeed. So now hopefully again, what I see in Ethiopia, I see a beautiful and a bright future in that country. Dr. Abiy Ahmed is succeeding with his dream of hope, dream of glory. So that dream of hope going to create Ethiopia one of the best nations in African continent and around the world. Always the greatness is start with one person, with two people or three people. Look at Dubai. Dubai in 1980, literally you can't see anything in Dubai except camels and camel men. Today, Dubai is one of the most successful nation in the world. So my hope is, with this vision and mission statement, Dr. Abiy Ahmed will make this country exactly like Dubai and like United States of America given a time within the next 10 years. That is what I see in Ethiopia. That is the future that I see in Ethiopia. Let me start with the local achievements. So what we have seen, even like within the first 15 months that Dr. Abiy Ahmed came to power, about 2 years ago, I calculated how many projects Dr. Abiy Ahmed and his administration accomplished. TPLF for 27 years that they were in power, they would start projects, for example, road construction and the building things like hospitals and the schools. They would start project and they stop right there. So Dr. Abiy Ahmed, within the first 15 months that he was in the office, he accomplished over 6,000 projects from schooling, from completing schools and hospitals and the roads and things like that. That is the greatest achievement in that country, not only within the last 27 years, but within the last 150 years. This is not exaggeration. This is evidence-based achievement that even the international communities agree with Dr. Abiy Ahmed. Now, we're going to come back to agricultural economy. Look what they have been doing. Ethiopians used to be, during the summertime, they don't really know how to farm during the summertime. Dr. Abiy Ahmed literally advanced this agricultural economy so they can farm, Ethiopian farmers can farm all 3 seasons like Americans are doing now. So that is the greatest achievement at the local level. At the national level, Ethiopia, even within Ethiopia and outside of Ethiopia, relationships, look how many countries since Dr. Abiy Ahmed came to power, creating the most United States of America, supporting Ethiopia. There are many leaders in Africa realizing, you know what, we have to follow the leadership Dr. Abiy Ahmed, because the West, they realize that the West truly do not care about Africa, about Ethiopia. So since he came to power, he has been traveling throughout Africa to create a strong relationship with all African countries. So his hope, and the African leaders' hope from here forward, is to create great united countries of Ethiopia. So that is something that we shouldn't forget. Then he came to start fighting with TPLF, since TPLF attacked the Ethiopian National Army. All of a sudden, the Western world against Dr. Abiy Ahmed for months now. But now, what they have been realizing is, no, wait a minute, actually TPLF are the gang members, they are the terrorists, they are the ones who have been creating these conflicts, they are the ones who are not willing to accept unity. So now a lot of Westerners realizing, if I bring one example, Sean Jones, one of the American diplomats in Ethiopia.
USID in Ethiopia.
Yes, USID in Ethiopia. He is realizing right now TPLF is not only unwilling to communicate and collaborate and build Ethiopia. He is realizing TPLF is a gang member. They are a terrorist. They are stealing foods. They are stealing weapons. They are killing people in Amhara region. So all of these things, the evidence, what we say is really the evidence makes a difference. That's not all. When a leader works on the truth and honesty, for a short time, that leader might have a struggle letting the world the true statement, which Dr. Abiy Ahmed was for a few months. He was struggling. Now, even the Westerners saying, hey, this man is a man of truth. This man is a great leader. This is the terrorist group right now. So what I am proud of is, at the moment, I was worried too about 5 months ago, about 6 months ago, when all American diplomats and the medias really supporting TPLF, the terrorist group. But now that is not the case. That's not the case, because little by little, the world is realizing the truth we have, the truth Dr. Abiy Ahmed holding in his hands, and how the TPLF is a terrorist and unwilling to communicate and collaborate with the Ethiopian government. So now, again, we come back to this. Dr. Abiy's achievement since he came to power is unlimited.
TPLF is labeled as a terrorist element by Ethiopian parliament. Do you think that it's a justifiable decision?
Absolutely. TPLF, even I don't know how the Western world do not understand about TPLF. TPLF is a well-known terrorist, especially what TPLF make. Actually, the reason why I always say TPLF is the #1 terrorist organization, not only in Ethiopia or in Africa, in the world. Here is why. The reason they are different from Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab and all of these gang members. These gang members, like Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram, they never came to power. TPLF was in power for 27 years, leading the nation that has over 100 million people. But after all 27 years that they led that nation, when somebody else had a chance, when the citizens of that country said enough is enough, we want a new leadership, and went on the streets and brought a man that they love to the power, they say absolutely not under our watch, Dr. Abiy Ahmed will lead. So them in the Shane, they organize themselves, they group themselves against Dr. Abiy Ahmed, against the administration, against the entire Ethiopian citizens. This is insane. That is why they are the worst terrorist organization in the planet. That is why I think the world should know about TPLF.
The US government strives 24/7 to halt and combat terrorist organizations such as Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, and MS-13, but not TPLF. Why?
Yeah, this is a great question. So this is something that all Ethiopians and African citizens in general should pay really good attention. I have been here in America for a very long time. What I have seen is, in this country, what I've witnessed is this. The Western nations, not only America, the Western nations in general, they do not want to see independent, truly independent Africa. What they want to see is they want the Africa that they can control from Washington, D.C. with a remote, with a simple remote. Now, when Dr. Abiy Ahmed came to power, immediately he received a great award, Nobel Peace Prize. So if Dr. Abiy Ahmed, one of those weak and incompetent leaders, like they thought, who would be manipulated from Washington, D.C. with a remote, from Berlin with a remote, from Canada with a remote, today, Dr. Abiy Ahmed would be one of the famous, according to the Western countries, one of the top priorities of the Western nation. They would literally support him 100%. But what they realized is, they realized this man is highly educated man in science, philosophy, law, international law, local law, in the history of that country, in the history of the colonizers. When the Western realize a leader is capable of entirely what I mentioned, especially a leader is very strong man who knows about the Western and their ideas of good Africa, they don't like that. Dr. Abiy Ahmed is saying that, hey, the Westerners, we Ethiopians, Africans should have the same table, should be sitting on the same table with you to negotiate local issues, national issues, and international issues. I am not going to let you decide my fate, decide the Ethiopian fate and African fate while I'm alive. They don't like that. That is why they start fighting against the man that they awarded one of the best award. That is what they hate. So if you look at the history in Africa, look every great African leaders, from the famous Burkina Faso's leader that was assassinated. I can go on and on. Every great African leaders who put Africa first, who put African development first, African economy, African technology, African education, African healthcare, never literally lasted for a long time. One time, I think I've mentioned it in another media. It was about 12 years ago when I was a student at the University of Minnesota. Very famous professor said at the New York University, he said, I wish HIV was so severe in Africa so that HIV can kill more Africans to make a perfect space for the Western children to take vacation. So that is the mentality a lot of Westerners have. That is the mentality. They want to manipulate Ethiopia, Africa with a remote. So we can be always the third world, always be the third world. If having a great relationship with the Westerners make you rich and succeed academically, financially, and all of that, Ethiopia would be one of the greatest and wealthiest nation in the planet today. We have had a relationship with the West, our embassy, for over 120 years. Today, look economically where we stand, where we could have our own farm, and how our own education and actually succeed on our own. So what I tell my people from far away is Dr. Abiy Ahmed is hated in the front in the West because he is a greatest man who puts Africa and Ethiopia first. They don't like that. From here forward, whether they like it or not, Africa, with my age and the younger age coming up, Ethiopia and Africa will be the most successful, and we are not going to be manipulated by the Western nations. That is what I need to tell my people. They need to listen. They need to make Ethiopia great. They need to come together with Dr. Abiy Ahmed. We must come together to make Ethiopia great. I have been studying in this country for many years. I have never seen a single professor who would say good and a positive thing about Africa. That is how deep the hatred of the Western world toward Africa. As we always know, people hate you when you are great, when you have great resources. That is the true statement. Without Ethiopia, one of the professors said, he teaches at the University of California, Berkeley. He said, without Africa, truthfully, Western world is not a Western world. Trillions of dollars come out of Africa to build Europe, America, each and every single day. Let me tell you something. It was about a few years ago, I was in Colorado visiting for a conference, which tomorrow too, I will be heading to Colorado, by the way. So I was in the store buying shoes. So these shoes is very beautiful and from the cow skin. I always tell this story. So these shoes cost about $3,000, 3,000 American dollars. I said, why these shoes so expensive? This is very really unheard of, right? Well, they said these shoes was made from a very rare Ethiopian cow skin. Think about this. Very rare Ethiopian cow skin. So it is not very rare. Each one of our cows, Ethiopian cow's skin, is very expensive in America because it makes the best leather and it lasts longer. So that is some kind of the product at the minimum level I'm talking about. One time I was in New York too. I always curious and go around and look at the things. There was chair that's very expensive. That came from Ghana. So the products that you see, most expensive products in America comes from Africa, let alone about Botswana diamond. That one of the greatest lady, by the way, Queen Diana has had still, the most expensive diamond came from Botswana. If you look at the British royal family, every single diamond in their house came from Africa, which is in actually billions of dollars in that houses, not only one, but hundreds of houses. So if Ethiopia become very independent nation and Africa become very independent nation, guess what will happen? These resources will stay in Africa. And when someone comes to Africa to visit, they will be controlled. How did they get in? And how did they live? What did they bring in and what did they live with? So we will be able to control our resources, our nation in general. That is what we need to do. In order to be at that stage, we need to have strong leaders, able, brilliant, minded leaders like Dr. Abiy Ahmed, not only in Africa, Ethiopia, but entirely in African countries.
On those early days, while Dr. Abiy Ahmed came into power, the Western media and the Western Gen nation have been appreciating his move and initiatives and his forthright move. Later on, they preferred to have another way, and they try to disdain and downgrade his move and started to stand beside TPLF. Why such kind of departure is happened?
Absolutely. So, in my opinion, and actually, I should say fact-based or evidence-based, because we have seen evidence from A to Z. So, for 27 years, when TPLF was in power, what they did was not leading the nation. They were just there catering to the Western nations, especially to America. During that time, if President Obama tell them what to do, prior to that, President Bush tell Ethiopian Prime Minister Meles Zenawi what to do, exactly, they were just really all those leaders catering to the Western nation. That is what they were looking for. When Dr. Abiy Ahmed came to power, that is what they thought of him. So because of that very reason, they gave him rosy and most beautiful welcoming from even their medias, from New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, every news media in America said, oh my, this is a person of hope. This is this. And so they were indirectly and directly actually putting Dr. Abiy Ahmed in a target that they can be one of those previous dogs who can be controlled from Washington, D.C. But Dr. Abiy Ahmed, once again, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, is not one of those catering dogs. He is a man in his own way. He's intelligent, educated man who knows what is good for him, what is good for his administration, what is good for Ethiopia, and what is good for Africa. Once they realize that, little by little, they said, hey, we are actually we have wrong perception about this person. Let us come back and bite his back. So they couldn't succeed because entirely one of the newspaper, I think about 3 weeks ago, I think it was Washington Post. He said almost all Ethiopians are behind Dr. Abiy Ahmed. That was the statement within the second paragraph. So they must be therefore, if all Ethiopians behind him, he must presenting quality to these citizens. So now that is when actually almost entirely Americans changing their perspectives. If you look at the media these days, within the last 3 weeks and 4 weeks, they have been changing their tones. They have been changing the way they report about Ethiopian histories, Ethiopian news. So now I am seeing, I know this for a fact. The Western nation, they push you for so long, but now they are at the point to give up because they can't really do anything. They can't they can't declare war on Ethiopia like they declared war on Afghanistan 20 years ago. Another thing is they could create a lot of conflicts, but now, for one, entirely Ethiopian citizens with Dr. Abiy Ahmed. Ethiopia has never been united like today. Russia is with Dr. Abiy Ahmed. India is with Dr. Abiy Ahmed. China with Dr. Abiy Ahmed. A grave mistake that America made 20 years ago is going after Afghanistan. They spent $6 trillion and lost millions of human lives.
The US government is counting the Afghan crisis as a grand trophy and victory. Even President Biden tweeted saying that in quote unquote, we went to Afghanistan for a reason before the 20 years, and we have accomplished our goal, he has said.
In America, by the way, since they withdrew from Afghanistan and Joe Biden made that very statement. For the last 27 years, for the last 20 years entirely, I've been here in the United States. When they get into that Afghanistan, I was here. Then I was here, and today I'm here. So these last 20 years, they have been saying they were in Afghanistan to implement real democracy, to build the nation, to make the nation very beautiful nation of the world, right? Now, Joe Biden said on his Twitter and Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, in first place, we were in Afghanistan to revenge what they have done to us in 9/11. That was shame on him. That very statement actually discouraged many Americans and internationally, all these leaders attacking Joe Biden. How dare you say you made this statement? Because all 20 years when you spend trillions of dollars, so all this money and human lives, you have been saying you were there to create great democracy, to build Afghanistan, create great nation. But now all of a sudden, why are you saying that? First of all, how do you know Afghanistan is the nation that hit New York City in 9/11? So that was nonsense. America is great when they go into war and they're creating disasters and destroying somebody else's country. But they never came out of that country in a good term. Never. They get into someone else's country and they destroy that nation and come out in the end with shame, guilt, horror. That is what we have been grieving in America today, because now how many people change their status from democracy to Republicans? Many thousands, by the way, Fox News just reported the other day, thousands of Americans hate the Liberal Party of America now. Millions, not thousands, millions. I am one of them. Ever since I came to this country, I've been liberal, but now I totally changed it to the Conservative Party. I think Conservative Party do very well when it comes to international relations and local politics. That's what we have seen. Look at during Bill Clinton. That is when Rwanda, Hutu and the Tutsi, killed almost 1 million people, killed each other within a matter of days. These events always happen when Democrats are in power. That is what they were about to do in Ethiopia, but they failed because they failed. God is with Ethiopia, I believe, and the people of Ethiopia are with Ethiopia.
At last, this program is dedicated to international communities and diplomats who reside in Ethiopia as well. US these days is sabotaging, conspiring, and betraying, abusing the ongoing move, which is being undergone by the new administration in Ethiopia. And what do you like to urge to the US government and the international community in letting know what is going on in Ethiopia, in telling the truth, in letting them know the reality on the ground?
Mr. Addis, thank you so much. The fellow global citizens, this is my message to you. I am an Ethiopian American who have been here in America for many years. I have studied here with you, if you are American, and I have accomplished a lot of things in this country and work with you. For many years, what I have experienced and what I have seen in my short time here in this world, I have never seen a single Westerners who really happy to see Africa to be on the same table with the Americans, with Australians, with Canadians, and with the Western world. From the day of the colonizers to this day, more particularly, this is what I'm going to say, with this social media and advanced technology, the Western, of course, were able to colonize Africa for many years, except they couldn't succeed in Ethiopia. But today my message is, you have been abusing us whether you like it or not, because I tell the truth. You have been abusing Africa for many years, directly, indirectly, financially, educationally, and technologically. But now, a bright side is, with this young generation, with people my age and the younger, with this advanced technological world, you cannot manipulate and control Africa. You cannot manipulate and control Africa from Washington, D.C. Let us talk about the Berlin event and meeting conference. When the colonizers went to Africa, they decided amongst the white men in Berlin, they sat together, exclusively decided how they were going to colonize Africa, what they're going to name the nations in the divided Africa. But we are not in that era today. We, African scholars, African young men and young women, have realized the Western world have been abusing us based on our color of skin. When God created us, when Allah created us, when Musungu created us, and when Mumungu created us, when Sgaber created us, he created, when Wakaguracha created us, he created us equally to the best of his knowledge. He has never discriminated based on the color of our skin. In front of God, the white men and black men, women and men, children and old, poor and rich are the same. So I am asking you, my fellow brothers and sisters, especially those who live in the Western nation, whether you are scholars and diplomats, I am going to ask you to be fair, to be honest, to let us be the leader of our nation, Ethiopia. Let us negotiate honestly and treat one another with kind and honest. But now, if you don't listen to my message, my brothers and sisters, we Africans our eyes are open and wide. Let me quote with this. Jomo Kenyatta said, when the Western came to us to colonize Africa, they had only a Bible. We had land, we had everything. They told us to pray with our eyes closed. When we opened our eyes, they had the land, we had the Bible. But today, that was old age. Not today. Today, from here forward, Africa will decide, Ethiopia will decide their own fates. If you talk to us with respect, kind, on the same table, if we have a good place like white men from Canada, from America has at the United Nations, and African daughters and Ethiopian sons and daughters have, we don't have a problem. We are the people of goodwill. We will be sitting that in the same table with you honestly and communicate what is good for us and what is good for the Western nation. It is not part of the Aboriginals to hurt other men. Just like Native Americans, Native Africans too, we are not the people, the evil people. We are the people of God. We are honest people. We want the same thing that we want for our black men and black women, for the white woman and white men. If you don't listen to this message, we know how to fight too, especially Ethiopians. So let us lead our nation. Let us control our resources. Let us send our sons and daughters to the same school that Americans and Canadians and Australians send to their children too. Our children deserve a better future. That's all I have to say right now.
Dr. Jemal Hassen, thank you for your intellectual and brilliant insight on the ongoing political situation in Ethiopia. Time flies. Due to the interest of time, I would like to wrap up my discussion with Dr. Jemal Hassen here. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.